Well, the first part of Yellowstone's Season 5 was a literal roller coaster. People could not wait to see what happened next. But because it took 2 years to roll out Part 2, it left fans with a lot of time. And what did they do with all that time? Come up with the most fascinating theories and predictions about what's going to happen in the final part of the Yellowstone series. Here are some of them. John Dutton's days are numbered. John Dutton, the tough-as-nails patriarch of the Dutton family, has dodged death so many times, it's almost unbelievable. Shot, attacked, and targeted by enemies left and right, John seems invincible. But we've known since the very first season that his colon cancer might be the thing that finally catches up to him. Fans are now more convinced than ever that John's death is inevitable, especially since Kevin Costner, who plays him, is confirmed to be leaving the show. The man has survived more life-threatening moments than most of us could count, but his luck seems to be running out. Could cancer be the final nail in the coffin for John Dutton? Or will something or someone else beat his disease to it? Either way, his death seems like the perfect dramatic twist to wrap up the series. The idea of the ranch without John Dutton is unthinkable, but at this point, it seems like it's exactly where things are heading. Jaimes' power play for the governor's seat. Jaime Dutton, who once seemed like a loyal and mild-mannered son, is done playing nice. Season 5 revealed his ambitions, and they are bigger than ever. Jaime has turned into a power-hungry politician, and now with the help of Sarah Atwood, he's aiming for the biggest move yet, impeaching his own father, John, from his role as Montana's governor. Jaime's resentment towards his family has simmered for years, but now, with Sarah whispering in his ear and his political savvy growing, he's gearing up to take John down. John's questionable decisions, like pardoning Summer Higgins and butting heads with market equities, have given Jaime the ammunition he needs. A successful impeachment would be Jaime's ultimate power play, and it's starting to look more and more like it could happen. Beth won't let Jaime's betrayal slide. Let's be real. Beth Dutton is not one to sit back and let things happen. And Jaime's recent plot to hire an assassin to take her out? That's a line that can't be crossed. The sibling rivalry between these two has always been explosive, but now it's about to get deadly. Beth has already hinted that she's not afraid to send Jaime to the train station, and if she catches wind of his assassination plans, you can bet she'll strike first. Beth's instincts have kept her one step ahead of Jaime so far, and the tension between them is at a fever pitch. The question is, who will make the first move, and will Jaime survive it? Sarah Atwood, the ultimate betrayer. Sarah Atwood is playing a dangerous game. Jaime might think he's in control, but Sarah's manipulations are clear as day to anyone watching. She's not with Jaime because she cares about him. She's with him to dismantle the Dutton family. Working for market equities, Sarah has no genuine interest in Jaime's political aspirations or personal ambitions. She's got one goal: weaken the Duttons, and Jaime is just a pawn in her plan. Theories are swirling that as soon as Sarah's mission is complete, she'll toss Jaime aside like yesterday's news. He may think he's finally in control, but when Sarah betrays him, it could leave him utterly broken and vulnerable. Casey's breaking point. Casey Dutton has always had one foot in the Dutton family's world and one foot out. His heart has never fully been with the ranch, and after Monica's tragic miscarriage, fans are speculating that her potential death could be the final push Casey needs to walk away forever. Monica's endured more than her fair share of trauma, and if she dies, it's hard to imagine Casey staying loyal to his family. His vision quest, where he foresaw the end of us, has been hanging over his head. And if this vision involves Monica's death, Casey might finally turn his back on the Duttons. He could leave the ranch behind to live a quieter life on the reservation with his son Tate. A merger between the Yellowstone Ranch and the native reservation. Speaking of Tate, let's talk about a theory that fans are excited about. Tate, being part Native American and part Dutton, is in a unique position to unite two worlds. Some fans believe that the future of the Yellowstone Ranch might lie in its merger with the Broken Rock Reservation. Could this be the endgame for the Dutton legacy? John Dutton has always had a complicated relationship with Thomas Rainwater and the reservation, but he's shown respect for their way of life. If John's death leads to chaos in the family, Tate might be the bridge between these two communities. It would be a symbolic return of the land to its original stewards, and the idea of Tate inheriting the ranch feels like a powerful way to bring the story full circle. Now imagine this. The Yellowstone Ranch, instead of being sold off to corporations or falling into enemy hands, gets preserved as a national park or nature reserve. This idea has been floating around fan circles, and it makes a lot of sense. John Dutton has always been about protecting the land, and what better way to ensure its survival than by placing it in public trust? Turning the ranch into a nature reserve could be John's way of securing its future, even if the Dutton family no longer controls it. Sure, they might lose their grip on the land, but it would still be protected from the clutches of corporations like market equities. This theory ties in perfectly with John's deep connection to the land and his desire to preserve its legacy, even if it means making some major sacrifices. Rip's discovery. Here's a theory that's been brewing for a while. Walker, the mysterious cowboy with a criminal past, might have a connection to Jaimes. Fans have speculated that Walker could be Jaimes' half-brother, which would explain his deep disdain for the Dutton family. If Rip, John's most loyal enforcer, uncovers this secret, it's bound to lead to a major confrontation. Rip has always been protective of the Duttons, especially John, and discovering that Walker is tied to Jaimes could spell the end for the wandering cowboy. Walker has been skating on thin ice for a while, and if this connection is real, his fate might already be sealed. A civil war between Jaimes and Beth. Jaimes and Beth's rivalry has always been intense, but now it's on the brink of erupting into an all-out war. Both siblings are ready to do whatever it takes to destroy the other, and fans are convinced that only one will make it out alive. Jaimes' betrayal of their father, his impeachment plot, and his willingness to hire an assassin have pushed Beth to the edge. On the other hand, Beth's relentless hatred and manipulation of Jaimes have left him desperate for revenge. It's clear that the final season is building up to a deadly showdown between these two, and no matter who comes out on top, it's going to be bloody. Market equities, final strike. Market equities have been a thorn in the Dutton side from the start, and with John's power crumbling, they're ready to strike back. The corporation has suffered major losses due to John's interference as governor, but now, with his political career on the line, they're gearing up for a final attack. The ranch itself, the heart of the Dutton legacy, might be the final battleground. Market Equities wants the land for its own purposes, and with the family weakened, this could be their chance to take it all. If John's impeachment succeeds or his health fails him, the Duttons may not have the strength to hold on to the Yellowstone Ranch. Market Equities could seize the opportunity to acquire the land for their airport development. The battle between the Duttons and Market Equities has been building for seasons, and fans are starting to think that the corporate takeover of the ranch is inevitable. Could this be the end of the Yellowstone as we know it? Legal trouble over the Yellowstone wolves' deaths. The deaths of Yellowstone Park wolves, orchestrated by the ranch's cowboys, have come back to haunt the Duttons. Environmental groups are up in arms, and the scandal could turn into a major legal issue for John. If John somehow survives impeachment, this controversy might be the final straw that takes him down. The wolves' deaths symbolize the larger forces closing in on the Dutton family, from environmentalists to corporate giants, and could lead to John's ultimate downfall. The ranch's financial struggles could lead to its downfall. This is something that's been haunting the Duttons for a while now. Financial trouble. In the mid-season finale, we learned that John Dutton's cattle had contracted brucellosis, a disease that could be disastrous for the ranch. To avoid further spread, John made the tough call to move the herd to Texas. But this decision came with a hefty price tag, over $1 million per month. That's a financial strain that even a powerhouse like John Dutton might not be able to bear for long. Fans are speculating that this cattle crisis could be the final straw that breaks the ranch's back. With John also dealing with political issues, the mounting expenses might just tip the scales, pushing the Dutton family toward financial collapse. Could this be how the Dutton Empire finally falls? The idea of the Yellowstone Ranch crumbling under the weight of financial burden is a theory that's gaining serious traction. Casey's vision could foreshadow the end of the Duttons. Remember Casey's vision quest from earlier in the series? The one where he saw two possible paths for his future, one of which led to the end of us. Well, fans haven't forgotten about it, and many believe that this cryptic message could be a warning about the downfall of the Dutton family. Casey has always had a complicated relationship with his family, and his vision seemed to hint at the disintegration of the Dutton dynasty. Whether it's because of internal family conflict, financial ruin, or both, this theory suggests that the Duttons' time is running out. Could Casey's vision be the key to understanding how it all ends? Jaimes' betrayal. Jaime Dutton is no stranger to betrayal, and it seems like he's ready to fully embrace his role as the family's black sheep. In Season 5, Jaime's alliance with Sarah Atwood shows just how far he's willing to go to gain power, even if it means aligning himself with Jon's enemies. Fans are speculating that Jaime's thirst for control could push him to team up with anyone who can help him achieve his goals, even if it means betraying his family completely. This theory paints Jaime as a man willing to do whatever it takes to seize power, and his partnership with market equities could be the final nail in the Duttons' coffin. The idea of Jaime betraying his family isn't new, but the level of deception and manipulation he's shown in recent episodes has fans convinced that his betrayal will be a game changer. Summer Higgins could get caught in the crossfire. Summer Higgins has been a divisive character, but her relationship with Jon has placed her smack in the middle of the Dutton family drama. As tensions between Jon and Jaime continue to escalate, fans are speculating that Summer could become collateral damage in this war. Whether through political manipulation or as a casualty of the Duttons' violent feud, Summer's involvement with Jon makes her a prime target. The idea of Summer getting caught in the crossfire adds another layer of intrigue to the ongoing battle between Jon and Jaime, and fans are eager to see how her storyline plays out. A major betrayal could shock viewers. Here's a theory that's got fans on the edge of their seats. A major betrayal within the Dutton family could be coming, and it's going to shake things up in a big way. Whether it's Jaime turning against Jon once and for all, or another family member switching sides, this betrayal could be the final blow that destroys the Dutton family. Yellowstone has always thrived on family conflict, and with tensions at an all-time high, the possibility of a shocking betrayal feels more likely than ever. Fans are bracing themselves for a twist that will permanently alter the family's dynamics and change alliances in a way that no one saw coming. Now, to understand all of these theories and predictions, let's get into a recap of what really went down in the first half of Yellowstone Season 5. A much-needed refresher. Yellowstone is set in the sprawling Montana ranch owned by the Dutton family, with Kevin Costner leading the charge as the gruff and powerful John Dutton. Alongside him is a cast of characters like the fierce Beth, the conflicted Jaime, and the loyal Rip. Since its premiere in 2018, Yellowstone has built a massive fan base, and Season 5, which premiered in November 2022, has been no exception. The first half of the season aired its mid-season finale on New Year's Day 2023, leaving fans eagerly awaiting the final episodes. But with so much happening in just the first 8 episodes of Season 5, you might need a bit of a recap to keep it all straight. So let's break it down, episode by episode. Right off the bat, Yellowstone doesn't pull any punches. In the first episode of Season 5, John Dutton has just been elected governor of Montana, but instead of celebrating, he's brooding. Even as his daughter Beth sheds happy tears for him, John seems reluctant about this new role. It's a big moment for the Dutton family, but John's reluctance hints at the storm ahead. Meanwhile, in one of those sweet throwbacks, we get a flashback of young Rip and Beth as they flirt and play hard to get, which is always fun to see. Shifting to the present, Beth, who's now married to Rip, apologizes for any pain she might have caused him in the past. But, of course, this is Yellowstone, and things don't stay calm for long. While John is busy being inaugurated, Casey is off on his own adventure, trying to stop horse thieves at the Canadian border. But the real drama is happening with Monica, who goes into labor and tries to drive herself to the hospital. Tragically, she gets into a car accident. While she survives, her baby does not. In a heartbreaking moment, Monica names the baby John before he passes away. It's a heavy start to the season, and you can already feel the tension mounting. With Monica mourning the loss of her baby, the second episode focuses on how grief weighs on everyone. Tate, Monica, and Casey's son worry about his mom, and the family grapples with the tragedy. Meanwhile, on the ranch, Rip is being his usual tough love self with Carter, the boy he and Beth have taken under their wing. But things take a grim turn when Carter accidentally causes a horse to break its leg, and Rip has no choice but to put the animal down. It's one of those Yellowstone moments that hit hard. Life is tough on the ranch, and there's no room for mistakes. On the political side, John is already shaking things up as governor. He fires his chief of staff and gives the job to Beth, who tries to refuse. But John isn't having any of it, so Beth is now thrust into the middle of John's war with Market Equities, the corporation that's been trying to take control of the Dutton land. As always, John is willing to do whatever it takes to protect his ranch, even if it means bending the rules. The third episode starts with Beth going on the offensive, and when Beth is in attack mode, you know things are about to get intense. She's determined to protect the ranch, and that means throwing the first punch at Market Equities. Meanwhile, there's an issue with wolves attacking the Duttons' cattle, and John is fed up. He's ready to blame the government, demanding they fix the problem before it escalates. Rip is dealing with the aftermath of the wolf attacks, while Jaimes, the family's lawyer turned politician, is getting cozy with Market Equities. In a meeting, Jaimes dismisses the company's concerns about losing the ranch's lease, while Sarah Atwood, who works for Market Equities, starts manipulating Jaimes to switch sides. And just to keep things spicy, Beth finds herself arrested after smashing a bottle over a guy's head for flirting with Rip. Classic Beth move, right? The fourth episode is about loss. On the emotional front, Beth and Jaimes' relationship hits a boiling point, but before that, Beth has to get out of jail after her bottle smashing incident. Thankfully, the woman she assaulted doesn't press charges, and Beth is free to go. But here's where things get even more heated. On the ride home with Jaimes, Beth notices a baby's car seat in the back of his car. Jaimes has a son, and he hasn't told anyone in the family. When Beth realizes this, she's furious, and she swears to take Jaimes' son away from him. The sibling rivalry between these two has always been fierce, but now it's reaching new dangerous levels. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, the Duttons are mourning in their own way. They're digging graves, one for Monica's baby and one for the horse Carter accidentally killed. After the funeral, John and Rip have a serious conversation about the wolves, with Rip reassuring John that the wolves have been taken care of in a place where no one will find them. But while all this is going down, Jaimes is busy getting cozy with Sarah Atwood. The two end up sleeping together, and in true Yellowstone fashion, Beth is spying on them. She snaps a picture of Sarah's ID and discovers that, surprise, it's fake. Beth, ever the strategist, now has more ammo to use against both Sarah and Jaimes. The fifth episode kicks off with a time-honored Yellowstone tradition, cattle branding. John Dutton, who's now governor of Montana, isn't about to let his new political role stop him from getting his hands dirty on the ranch. He turns the annual cattle branding into a political event, showing off just how important ranching is to Montana's heritage. And let's be real, John knows exactly how to turn tradition into a power move. Meanwhile, Beth has her eyes on Summer, the environmentalist who's been working closely with John. Beth isn't exactly the trusting type, and she's got a bad feeling about Summer's intentions. Rip tries to remind her that this isn't exactly her crowd, cowboys and ranch hands, but Beth insists on tagging along with the boys on a ride to keep tabs on Summer. After a tense family dinner, Beth and Summer can't keep their dislike for each other bottled up any longer. The two head outside, and before you know it, fists are flying. It's a classic Yellowstone moment. Beth doesn't hold back, and Summer fights right back. Later, though, Beth decides to test Summer's dedication to her environmental cause by sending her out to survey the land while the cowboys are working. Beth wants to see if Summer really believes the ranch is as much of a threat as she thinks it is. The sixth episode gives us a brief reprieve from the usual high-octane drama, with the Duttons enjoying a peaceful day out riding together. But before we get too comfortable, things take a dark turn when a military force shows up at the Broken Rock Indian Reservation. Their bizarre vendetta against stray dogs leads them to shooting innocent animals, much to Moe's horror. It's one of those unsettling moments that Yellowstone loves to throw in. Just when you think you know what's going on, something unexpected happens. Back at the ranch, Monica and Summer, two women who couldn't be more different, end up bonding while peeling potatoes. It's a surprisingly sweet moment that contrasts with the chaos happening elsewhere. Meanwhile, Rip and the cowboys enjoy a night of whiskey and cigarettes, but when morning comes, tragedy strikes. John's longtime friend Emmett doesn't wake up. He passes away peacefully under the stars, but his death still hits John hard. Later, John attends a party where Senator Linnell, who's more than just a political ally, advises him to make time for a meeting with the president, who's visiting Montana. But not everyone is in the mood for celebrations. Jaimes catches a news clip showing John hugging Emmett's wife, and the sight of it seems to push Jaimes further down the path of resentment. In the 7th episode, the tension ramps up as Sarah offers Jaimes a plan to help the ranch evolve. Naturally, Jaimes is quick to say yes because, well, he's completely wrapped around Sarah's finger at this point. She's got him so whipped that he's not even questioning her motives anymore. Meanwhile, Monica is still trying to figure out Beth. Why is she so harsh all the time? But in a rare tender moment, Beth opens up to Monica, telling her about her own heartbreaking loss of a child. It's a raw moment that gives us a glimpse into the pain that fuels Beth's tough exterior. Out on the ranch, the cowboys discover something that could spell disaster: a bunch of stillborn bison calves. This is bad news because it suggests there's a disease spreading, and if the cattle are infected, the entire herd might have to be killed. Even if the cattle are safe, the land is tainted, which means the cows will have to be moved south, forcing the cowboys off the ranch. Beth, ever the businesswoman, proposes a bold plan. Yellowstone should start selling its own beef to bring in some much-needed cash. But the episode doesn't end on that note of hope. Jaimes is preparing for his big moment. He's planning to address the Montana State Assembly and recommend that John be impeached for putting the ranch's land in a conservation easement. Finally, in the MidSeason Finale, things start getting real. John asks Monica to step up and look after the ranch while he's busy with work and Rip is down in Texas. It's a big ask, but Monica agrees, signaling that she's starting to feel more at home in the Dutton world. Meanwhile, Jaimes finally makes his move. He delivers his speech to the Montana State Assembly, calling for an investigation into John's decision to put the ranch land in a conservation easement. It's a power play and one that Jaimes hopes will bring his father down for good. But John is already working to clean up the mess, trying to remind people that the real issue is the pipeline, not his decision about the land. And then there's Beth, who, as usual, isn't going to let anything slide. When she finds out about Jaimes' actions, she's furious. She breaks into his house and attacks him, smashing a rock over his head. She gives Jaimes an ultimatum: resign, or she'll release the photo of him dumping his biological father's body. But Jaimes, now emboldened, hits back with a reminder that if Beth tries to expose him, she'll also be implicating John. It's a classic Dutton standoff, no one wins, and the tension just keeps escalating. Jaimes then turns to Sarah, asking her if it's possible to hire someone to kill Beth. The fact that he's even considering this tells you just how far their sibling rivalry has gone. This isn't just about family squabbles anymore. This is life or death. But amidst all this chaos, there's a glimmer of hope. Monica, who's been through so much heartbreak, is slowly finding her footing again. She and Casey start talking about their future, and it seems like they're finally ready to embrace a life together on the ranch. It's a rare moment of peace in a season that's been anything but calm.